Joining me now once again to discuss this historic verdict and the race for the White House is attorney and partner at Reed Smith, A. Scott Bolden. Good to have you back. A couple of days ago, you told us right here on our air that we were going to see this decision. So now that it has happened, what do you make of it?
Well, it's a great day for the rule of law. Despite the criticisms, the political criticisms, the fact of the matter is there was a grand jury. There were 12 citizens. Court of Appeals looked at this. Even the Supreme Court, I think, may have even looked at this. There's so many different cases. But the rule of law worked. The prosecutor did their job. It was a run on the table, as we say, for the government. But they put together the case. And it wasn't Michael Cohen or his lack of credibility. It was the documents and the witnesses that corroborated Michael Cohen's testimony, and the fact that Donald Trump traffics in this space with the National Enquirer and paying people off and catch and kill and then booking it inappropriately. Had he not been running for president, this really wouldn't be a case. But because he was, and because he didn't pay state or federal taxes on these payments, and he didn't report it to the FEC, the jury has rendered a verdict, and it was a clean sweep for the government.
Well, looking ahead to July 11th and the sentencing, how can we expect that to play out? What are the options?
There'll be a pre-sentencing report by probation with a probation recommendation of either incarceration or probation. Now, normally under New York law here, under these similar circumstances, it would probably be a probationary sentence. But there are two factors that make this case incredibly unique. One, there are 34 felony convictions. There are not many people walking around with that many felony convictions that haven't served time. And two, Donald Trump has not been very remorseful. He has denigrated the judge. He has denigrated the government. He has denigrated the witnesses. He has denigrated the criminal justice system and the rule of law. And there's only one person who's going to sentence him. That's the judge that he's denigrated. Not a really good strategy if you're facing 34 felony counts. And so that makes this situation unique. I can see the judge sentencing him to time. Now, he can appeal that and he can delay it if you want, and maybe that incarceration comes at some point, but he could obviously, or he could be sentenced to some time. And how they implement that, Judge Marchand could say, you all figure it out, but I'm sentencing him to incarceration of a year or two or whatever the judge decides.
Well, in the event that that happens, and I don't know if you can speak to this, how will it then impact his campaign and run for the White House?
Well, as a former state Democratic Party chair here in D.C., I'm comfortable saying that Donald Trump has 40% of the vote, maybe 45. It's not going up. It's not going down. His fundraising has picked up because of these convictions. But the GOP, one, has to decide whether they're going to stick with him. I think they will. But the real question is, how many Republicans leave his campaign or won't vote for him because of these convictions? How many independents will not vote for him? How many suburban women voters won't vote for him? How many third-party candidates or people who would support them are going to leave Donald Trump? And how many are going to go to Joe Biden? The first polling in the next week or two would give us a look into that issue. But it's all about politics. But let's remember, you've got to bifurcate the criminal justice system and the politics of this thing. Donald Trump may be running for president, but the criminal justice system doesn't care. The rule of law is the rule of law. And whether he gets sentenced, whether he goes to jail, or whether he gets probation, all Donald Trump cares about is becoming president of the United States. But he ought to care more about his liberty right now. I think that's on his mind.
You know, there have been so many elements, all of this unprecedented, and so we'll have to see what happens because we're experiencing all of this for the first time. But thank you so much for your expert advice and insight. We appreciate it.